Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody's doing well on this fabulous Sunday morning. If you don't already have it, go get your coffee. Make sure you have that on standby. I'm going to do my pleasantries and say hi to everybody in chat. So, Kane Friday's in here. Kane Friday, thank you for being a channel member. AZ Coins is here. Thank you for being a channel member. Captain Vic, good to see you. Malcolm Coins, Paula Bloom, and Eric Bayer are both here. They're going to show up here in just a minute on the panel. Steve Lapointe just gifted 5 memberships. Steve, that's absolutely awesome, brother. Thank you so much for being here, for being a member. That's absolutely awesome. All Things Silver, ATS, Papa York, Gold Sniping Farmer, Jack Gallman, all receive one of these. That's absolutely fabulous. Please, if you receive one of these from Steve, please tell him thank you. Moanin' Brown Sugar, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. That's fabulous, Steve. Thank you so much for that. All right. So as you saw with the title of the video, if you looked at the item today, we're going to talk about the Coin Show podcast yesterday. If you got the opportunity to watch that, then we're going to talk about that. But if you didn't, then in the link of the description is the video to the Coin Show podcast. I want you to go watch that. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. There's going to be some spoilers, but what I want it to be is I want it to be an intriguing piece for you to go look at that video. There's some great information, and we're going to be talking about that this morning. EMR Coins, thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming up and being here today. So we're going to talk about that. So in order to do that, I have to bring up some trusted compadres. And of course, where would that be without Paula Bloom and the one and only Eric Bayer? So, hey, folks, thanks for being here today.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. He's like, oh, good morning. I'm back. You were no longer in the basement. How are y'all doing this morning?
Good morning.
Wonderful. And yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Wanted to talk about this Coin Show podcast. This interview with CAC is something that I find promising. There were a lot of good things that came from this, and I wanted to share this with everybody and kind of get a feel for what the pulse of that was.
Heck yeah. I'm excited about it.
I am too. So Eric and I were talking, as Paul and I were talking just as we started to come live. Eric has not seen the discussion, so some of this stuff is going to be new, but he's very aware of CAC, the history of CAC. He knows who the new president is. He knows John, who one of the owners, the proprietors of CAC. So he has a lot of good information that he can provide. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys will enjoy this. So I'm going to.
And I hope all of you go watch it. I hope they all go watch it.
Yeah, and the link is in the description below. Yeah. So there's 2 versions of it. Yeah. If you watch the discussion last night, it's kind of their normal podcast. But the link that I put in the description below is specifically the interview with the CAC president. So you want to try and stab out his name, Paula?
Yes, Drvutsky.
Drvutsky.
Ron Drvutsky.
Sounds like a greeting for vodka.
And it is not spelled at all like it sounds. It's DRZEWUCKI or something like that.
She wants to call him Dr. Wookie.
I do. Yeah.
Oh, but anyway, hey, Spray Can, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here, bud. The conversation that they had was, as I stated before, was very promising. And so what I want to do is, number one, I don't want to steal any of their limelight. I actually want to highlight it. We talked a little bit about networking and having sources and having people in the community. And what I want to do is I want to highlight things that people do that are beneficial. And I think the discussion that they had with the president of CAC grading, specifically CAC grading, was very important. So Paula, first, before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and have you offer some statements. I know that you were there having the conversation, listening to what was going on. What were your initial thoughts about the conversation yesterday?
Well, as far as what? My initial thoughts?
Just the interview in general. I mean, we know that the Coin Show podcast, two really, really good guys.
Oh, I love
Um,
Matt and Mike. And if you guys are not subscribed to the Coin Show podcast, you need to be, because this is only one of the many great interviews that they have done throughout their years of doing this. And they're fantastic guys. And the interview was fantastic. I mean, it was a great interview. It was to the point. They covered I think a lot of questions people had about the company and where it's going and everything else, and found out some new information that people don't know. So yeah, it was just a great interview. I think Ron's a great guy. He reminds me a lot of Chuck Daughtry. I said that before we went live. Yeah, so he's been around for a long time. Long time.
Well, all those people are. I mean, John Albanese
Yeah.
was what numismatist of the century.
Yep.
All the most famous coins in the world have been brokered through him.
Yep, that's true. That is true.
that's
He
when
was
you're
one of
talking about
the original 10 founders of PCGS. He was the founder of NGC. He started CAC and is now branched off to a brand new grading company. And it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what he brokered the finest 1913 V nickel and other stuff. Well, the first
Oh,
coin struck was 1794 flowing. I'm not sure of the coin.
the flowing hair.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. And that was actually struck in 1795. But anyway, I digress.
Right.
That's one of Paula's
Um,
favorite trivia questions, by the
It
way.
is.
Okay.
It is one of my favorites. But anyway, yeah, he's um he's been around the block. I can't imagine the coins that have passed through his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be tough to go home to your own collection. Let's just put it that way. And not be like, okay.
Not mine. I like Lincoln Cents, so
I know, but there
he's
again.
never seen
Well,
anything like mine.
well, that's true. And he's there is that, but yeah, just I can't imagine.
Pulling up,
But there again, he's probably seen the pattern coins for the Lincoln Cents, stuff like that. So
I was looking, there was and I want to say that it was a Sotheby's auction that he brokered, and it's on YouTube. I've watched it on YouTube before, but there wasn't a coin that didn't get over $1 million.
oh
And there was literally 500 coins.
wow. And that was how many years ago?
I watched it within the last 3 years.
Wow.
But it's just crazy. And it's like, large cents that are MS-65.
Oh, stop.
that's
Yeah.
unreal. That's like Brian's collection.
No.
Yeah, I was going to
Brian's is
mention that.
insane.
Eric has seen Brian's collections, so
It's pretty insane. But this collection was even more insane.
oh, I'm sure.
The link that I just put in, I have enough to actually put in, but it's actually a kind of an overview, a very short overview from Coinage, which is a magazine, and it talks about the John being the numismatist of the century. So go check that out. It's a really cool little overview about, first off, you can see who he is, but number two, talk about some of the accomplishments he has. Um, it's one of those that in this hobby, if you don't know his name, you're really not
Yeah.
into the hobby.
In the Coin Show podcast, I
He's
think
so hands-on. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the Coin Show podcast has, half dozen interviews with them.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a ton of, so again, they're listed in there. The Coin Show podcast, I put the link up above in chat. It's there. I'm actually going to go ahead and pin that. You can go look at them. They have a really good program. They do a lot of,
And they are
like
just
Paula
great
said,
guys.
a lot of good interviews. lot of satire, a lot of wit, really smart gentleman. Um, one of my favorite lines was Matt saying, "I thought I was the biggest dork." No, it's not true.
Right.
Right, because it's like, "Oh, no, Matt, you're still a dork," but
Yeah.
it's
He
but
likes to
it's a
point
lot of
that out.
there's a lot of that kinda dry wit that happens during that show, so, again, go check that out, and I told you guys, a lot of people say promoting other channels is channel genocide. Let it be, because I want you guys to have the best
I
experience.
promote channels.
Eric, they absolutely have set a high bar for themselves, and I can guarantee you that they are keeping that high bar. They will not be dropping their standards.
I've actually watched some
Ron
of their
talked about
stuff.
that last night, huh?
I've watched some of their stuff. I
Yep,
like it. Yeah.
yep. They will not. Ron talked about that last night. They would rather, he said, they would rather quit and shut it down than lower their standard. So
I hope so. I mean,
yeah.
like I said, I've seen a lot of people get their submissions back. There's a lot of them on YouTube. If you YouTube CAC submissions, you know how they get them back. There's a lot of disappointment when they get them back. And
So
they're just looking for crossovers.
I'm gonna warn people that dissension sells. So just because those are the first videos that you see doesn't mean
Sure.
that
I
the
have heard a lot
majority
of positive about it.
yeah,
So
that doesn't
I've
mean
seen
that
a
the
positive
majority of the
one.
people are dissatisfied.
And actually, it's making me want to do an experiment. I'm not going to get into the experiment, but I am in the process of doing something real neat just out of curiosity.
well, and Eric, one thing he talked about last night was that he is their slabs, their holders are so popular that they are not even being seen on the bourse floor. They are being sold like outright right away. They're
Right.
not even having a chance of getting out on the bourse floors at the coin shows. So I think that people are going to be happy with the way that their coins are marketed or are marketable in
Oh,
those CAC
absolutely.
labs.
Especially since they've opened it up. Because originally, I want to say it
Mhm.
was limited to 20 dealers, the 20 biggest dealers around the
Yes.
country.
Yeah.
And they were putting them on. I saw some on eBay, and they were like selling for way more than they were worth, just
Yeah.
to get the holder.
Well, and for those of you who aren't aware, you're gonna need new containers because they will not fit in
They won't,
NGC or
no, they won't
PCGS
fit in the
boxes.
The
boxes.
new PCGS slabs will not fit in NGC boxes. NGC is loose. The only ones that seem to fit is old PCGS, ANAX, and NGC.
Well,
They all fit.
they'll fit, but they won't fit well. So NGC
Yeah.
holders, you can't put a PCGS slab in there; they're too tall.
That and they're too wide. They
I don't
squeeze,
have any
they
NGC
squeeze
holders.
against it really hard on the sides too. But you
Um,
can put like a third gen, or I think it's a third gen. They slide right in and out.
and the ANAX ones fit in; they're good, but the
Yeah.
CAC ones, they don't fit at all. They're too thick.
I still think the best holders are SEGS holders, but SEGS grading sucks.
I don't think it's good to talk about SEGs on, or I mean,
They're
the
fancy.
company.
Stakes holders are fancy.
They're nice and they stack nice and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
And another one that's the ICG holders, they stack really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's questionable. If you got a slider, you send it to ICG.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Well,
just old time history.
I think that this is here. So as with anything else, everybody always tells you guys, if you can't grade a coin yourself, you probably shouldn't be sending coins to be graded. If you have a coin that is questionable to you, don't send it to CAC.
That's right.
Because
And I can tell you a trick. I happen to know a few people that have been graders or are graders. And 90% of the grade is their initial first response and eye appeal. The first
Yep.
2 seconds they look at a coin.
Mhm.
If they see something that detracts in that first 2 seconds, you're down the tubes. Because they're gonna look at it a little bit harder, and they're
Mhm.
gonna find stuff. If they see it and it just sparkles and it, and they're having a great day and they got a nice ride to work and their coffee was hot,
That's
hey,
true.
you might score.
I am really, really I think I'm looking forward to it because I think that at least initially, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully they continue with the way that Ron was talking about what their mission is with CACG. I'm looking forward to hopefully more consistency in grading.
Yeah.
The
Well, and
consistency for PCGS and NGC has gone into the toilet.
and there's a reason for that. And we'll see with CAC, when the volume starts really going in that direction, they're going to have to hire graders.
Well, and here's the thing though, Eric, that Ron was saying is that people don't think that they have the volume right now, but they do. They are just not seeing the coins on the market because they're being sold so quick. He's graded, what did he say? He's graded 100,000 coins. Like
it was a huge number.
A
I don't
huge
remember the
number.
exactly. Yeah, it was a huge number for the short
just
amount of time that
himself.
they've been
Yeah.
there.
I know, like the people that grade Silver Eagles,
hmm
you would be shocked at what their quota is.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, it's not my business to tell everybody what it is.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Just put it this way. They don't have time to scour that coin.
You're getting a couple
It's a first
seconds per
impression
coin.
thing. Yeah, you might. Well, and it is done more than one time because they get
Right.
2 graders and then they get a finalizer. That's how it's supposed to work. But I'm going to guess 20 seconds max on a coin, probably less.
Yeah.
The standards, 1 or 2 coin grades that go in there, they're going to take a little more time on that because it's only two coins on the invoice and not 1,000 coins.
Yeah.
But let me clarify something real quick for those of you that are like, oh, that's too fast for you to be able to do anything. You want to know how easy it is to look and get a feel for something? Watch Chuck when he's doing his reveals, or watch Blue Ridge Silverhound when he's looking over coins. It's people who really understand grading, right? And Eric, I'm not knocking you at all because you're really good at this.
No.
But he can go through a roll of coins in a couple minutes and be spot on and identify things and find stuff and not miss hardly anything.
And I can tell you, I've seen some of Chuck's submissions that come back. And, the last one, matter of fact, I'm looking at it because it's at my house, was almost 300 coins. And they only body bagged 3 of them. And that was because they didn't meet his minimum grade, not because the coins were bad.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't, if it's not MS65 or MS66.
60, I think he goes 66 up.
Yeah, he doesn't do it. So, but if you guys are thinking that, 20, 30 seconds per coin is not enough time, when you're as adept at some of these graders are at seeing the coins, that's actually quite a bit of time to actually stop and look at each coin.
Well, you also have to quantify that too, though, because we're not talking about 1794 flowing hair half dimes.
No,
We're
Right.
talking about monster boxes of ASCs
bulk
or things like
submission.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, if they have a rare coin or something like that, I'm sure they have to take more time because they have to look up, like certain dates are known to have weaker strikes and things like that. They can't know those things 100% by heart. Like
Right.
every single. Yeah.
That's where Ron would come in. He would have the 2 graders look at it. He's a finalizer. He's actually listed as a finalizer on the website. He would look at it and then go from there and either override the grade or confirm the grade.
Right. So when they're talking about 20 seconds per coin, they're talking about like bulk submissions of,
Right. That's what I'm saying, the
ASCs or
monster
Lincoln Cents, things like that, where, yeah.
And anyways, that goes back to the point I was making is your first impression of the coin, that first look, did it trigger a wow, this is a beautiful coin? Or did it trigger, what did he send this to me for? That right there is, and that goes for everything, not just coins.
Mhm.
Everything in our life. When you go out and you do something, you say, wow, that looks really good.
It's true.
You're inclined to look into it more.
That's usually when my wife slaps me. But
Mine too.
Oh my gosh, I could not believe you made a comment in chat last night and I actually grimaced. I was like, he actually said that. Oh,
come on. It was the necklace. It was hilarious. Nobody had the balls to say anything funny.
I'm like, he said pearl necklace.
Well, so they had, if you guys didn't see it, it's hilarious.
What fun is
It was
keeping a
really
pearl necklace?
cool.
Oh.
Seated Seated Liberty love necklace, right? And
The
had
love
really
token necklace. It
love,
was
yeah, it's
beautiful.
Oh,
really
I,
Yeah.
cool.
Beautiful.
I
And I was
love
like
love
Christian Goldbrecht's version of a pearl necklace.
He said that in chat.
Nobody said
He
anything,
actually
but it was
shocked me, and that doesn't happen.
well, but it's one of those things where it's like it wasn't meant to be whatever. It's just have fun, right? And if you don't have something good to say, then don't say anything at all. My green screen's acting up on me.
That was hysterical. I'm sorry I got off topic, but that was so
Well, but the
funny.
thing that was funny about that is when you were looking at Mike's submission, it was like the tiny hand
I
was
know.
way more interesting than the gold,
I know.
right?
Mike does that. Yeah, anyway.
So, but
Anyway,
no,
back to
it was
the
a lot of
stream.
fun.
It
So
was fun.
let's talk about a couple things. Now, Coach's Magic asked one question. These are one of the things that I wanted to discuss. And that question was about AI. Do you think the company will ever use AI as a contribution to human or in place of in order to remove human error? And I'm going to answer that by saying no.
Nope.
And the reason that I say no, now I'm not going to say
Never in
no.
place of. Never in place of. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say no, not now. I'm going to say no. Now, there are some reasons for that. Now, can AI be utilized to identify things on a coin? Can it scan the surface? Can it identify things? We got laser mapping. We got a lot of technology that can be utilized to do things like scan surfaces and stuff like that. Yes, absolutely. They have technology and they're even growing technology that'll allow them to do this kind of stuff. But here's the thing about grading. Grading is a subjective art,
It is an art. Yes.
right? And so it's something that in order I don't know how many people have said this before, but how many people have heard the statement that a computer is only as smart as the person who programs it? Now, a computer can be adaptive and a computer can do things quicker than we can. But in order for that to be able to identify the items within the coin, the rules have to be programmed into the machine. And I want you to think about the logistics of actually trying to program into a system the art of what your eye sees.
I appeal.
How,
well,
how
here's
do
the
you
thing.
exactly luster? How do you
Everybody's eye is
quantify
different.
digitally luster?
Yep. Exactly.
How do you identify a genuine cartwheel? Because,
Strength of strike. I appeal.
right, there's so
Toning.
much of that stuff that
Artificial toning.
okay, so here's another one. This is a great one. How do you tell a system? So, Eric, I want you to give me a famously crappy strike year for Lincoln Cents.
1946 S Lincoln Cent.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have a 46 Lincoln Cent, and it comes across, and it's like, oh man, that coin is terrible. This is going to be MS62, right? But how will the system know that that's actually a really good strike for that particular year? So, granted, it may not affect grading, but your grading is going to have a little bit different criteria because the strike is so bad in that particular item. Some of the criteria may be different. How are you going to do criteria grading between Morgan and Peace and Lincoln? And how are you going to add all that information? Think of the algorithm that would have to be in to adequately do that. Now, we can scan, right? There are laser scanners, there are things that we can do, and we can find what we call the perfect coin, scan it, and then they can use that as a reference.
Yeah, especially if they have starting references of the original dies and all that stuff.
Right. So, but how many of those things do we still have?
None.
Right. And so to be able to do that, it's just not going to happen. Now, I'm going to probably regret saying this the way that I'm going to say it. The data in numismatics sucks.
Oh,
Okay. And
that's
the
because
reason that I
numismatics
say
is
this,
subjective. There's no
Not
real
for
concrete
long.
data.
well, but we don't know. So for instance, how many 1833 Morgan silver dollars are actually graded?
Well, we don't know that because half of them have been graded and cracked out, graded
Cracked
and
out,
cracked out,
melted.
graded
We
and
don't
cracked out.
damaged, caught in fires. We'll
Yeah.
never know true numbers ever, right? And so to be able to go back and say, well, there's only a set of two of these,
Well, that's why they say estimated survival.
right? And so, but we'll never genuinely know.
Do we need
So,
to know?
well, but if you're talking about computers grading top pop,
Yeah.
if the top pop has been damaged or lost, and you're talking about populations and you're talking about things like utilizing AI to be able to do that, yeah, you absolutely do need that information.
But don't they only do that like they do top pop of the known examples, right?
Yeah, the ones they've graded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
And
Eric,
most of the top pops will not ever be regraded because they're the top pop.
Right.
I'm not saying AI won't be utilized to pair with it. AI will never, well, and I won't say never. There's the danger of AI taking over some of those items, but there's more detriment to AI right now than there is benefit.
It's going to totally be up to the grading companies whether they use it or not.
And I
If
don't
they,
foresee
I
that.
don't think CAC, what from what Ron was saying, that will never be used
No.
for their grading company.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
anything with AI will be used on
No.
like a coin grading service, especially within the next 5 years.
Right.
It's got to really make a quantum leap.
Well, and again, I had a conversation on the business side. Now, you guys know that I do process improvement and strategy and work within the medical field to look at systems and processes. And one of my coworkers called and said, "What's the threat of our position with AI and these GPT chat things? And is it? Do
Those
you
are
think it's?"
garbage.
And I kind of laughed, and I was like, in some degree, it could jeopardize the basic component of our work. However, it doesn't understand whether the stuff that it's spitting out is in fact authentic.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back, you go to Chat GPT and you ask a question of it, and you really know that field, you're going to find lots of nuances that aren't exactly right. And if you utilize it without having an expert to go back and review it, look at the strategy, look at the components, look at the makeup, really generate those items that the AI doesn't get. You could mislead people. You could lead people down a road. We look at, and I'm finally just going to just start saying this channel every time I speak about it. Coins of Rosie, right? They utilize AI. It's very clear they utilize AI, and they misspeak all the time. Yet they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of views. Why? Because it's easy. AI is easy. It's going to be easy. It's going to crush critical thinking skills. But we need critical
How many
thinking
jobs?
skills. We need to be able to do that. So do I think it's going to go away? No. Do I think AI has a potential detriment? I made a video about it. I think AI has the potential detriment to our hobby, especially stacking.
I think
I
the only so real quick, the only people that are going to use AI in this hobby are the people that are in it for a quick buck.
Yep.
Because this hobby is so much more than that, and it's hands-on, and people love their coins, and they, we us coin roll hunters, we want to be able to search the coins ourselves and things like that. If you're only in this hobby to make a quick buck, then AI may work for you.
What's
But
the name of the
If you're
program?
making a buck,
huh?
you're either
What-
if you're sorry.
That's okay. Real quick though, what's the name of the machine? You put the coin in and it tells you the year and the variety.
Newman, it doesn't, so that's Tim Ratchen's coin sorter, and all it does is sorts by date and mint mark, that's all.
Okay.
Color too, doesn't it?
Huh?
I thought he could pull uncirculated coins Or
It
about
it
uncirculated
may
coins.
do that. It may sort by uncirculated too. I can't remember. I saw it. We had Jeffrey Schumer and I went and met Tim and saw Newman, and I can't remember if it's sorted by uncirculated or not, but it may.
And don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not saying that AI won't be utilized and there won't be AI technology available. And I'm not going to even say it's not going to be reliable. And I've mentioned this when I did the video specifically on AI. Numismatic's
Ray.
not dead yet. AI is a part of our world, but it's not going to take over the grading component. And can it be utilized? Yes, but you got to be very, very careful with it because especially right now, AI is good, but it's got a lot of problems. There's a lot of technical issues that just don't don't work well. And there's so much misinformation that's
Yes.
out there that AI has a difficult time discerning fact from fiction, fact from crap, BS. It has a difficult time discerning that. So when it reaches out and pulls sources, a good example of this is the magazine that posted this story about something that was a damaged coin. If AI reaches out and picks that up, it's going to utilize that as an example of something fact, even though it's been recalled. So there's a huge potential for more damage utilizing AI right now than there is benefit. So beware of it. Now, I'm not saying don't be a proponent of it. I'm not saying that don't utilize it. I utilize it in my a lot of the graphic design work that I do. If I'm building flow charting and I want to do something like that, I'll use it to start a flow chart. And then I will go back through utilizing the information that I have and build in and fill in the gaps that it left out. So use it. That's fine. But it will not take over our hobby,
I
especially
don't trust it. It's going to come back and kill us all.
well, I mean, but
Ever seen
that fear.
iRobot?
Even what's his name? Oh, I just went blank.
What's his name?
Smart billionaire dude. Elon Musk.
Richard Branson. Oh,
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
AI scares him.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, but that's probably because he's got a better insight than most
Yeah.
people.
I'm sure.
So
He's probably had something go out of control already and had to, cut the wires.
well, you want to see something funny is when they were talking about so they have a robotic arm that will take your charging dock and put it into your car.
What? Oh, what?
Well, but he made a crack. He made a joke about it, and people actually investigated it. So he made a just don't be bending over when you're doing this. And that's because they actually had an incident where something like that occurred. So
Oh, ow.
oh my God, me just
Look at you
gifted
go.
10 memberships. Dude, that's awesome.
But
Thanks,
I agree
brother.
with you. I don't think AI is ever going to take over this hobby. I think
All right, real quick.
there may be aspects, but I don't think it's ever going to take, because we are already seeing it, right? We're seeing it in the distribution centers for the U.S. Mint.
Yeah.
All of your proof sets are packaged. All of your coins like that are packaged by computers. And
Yeah.
And look at how look at
And-
what's happened in the last 5 years.
exactly.
So real quick, I got to take knowledge of this. Matt T Coins, EMR, Coach's Magic, Doug Wagoner, Jackalope Birdmaster, Shellbean, Seven Stacks, Bill Gibson, Bad Idea Lab, and Roseanne. Ooh,
And Amanda.
Amanda. Woohoo. She got one too. All of you, please say thank you to me, not me, but YouTube me
Thank you, me.
for doing that. That was amazing of you. Thank you so much. I want to
And
make
the
sure I really
pollinator.
acknowledge that.
I'll be back.
But getting
So,
back
but
to
again,
making
I'm
quick
not
money,
knocking robotics. I'm not knocking the advent of technology. I am a proponent of it. Walker Magnet, thanks for the membership, man. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate the support, man. You guys are really blessing the snot out of me today. I got to blow my nose. Thank you for the chuckle, Paula. I don't think anybody else picked that up. But it was something that they asked about, and the president of CAC was very clear, right? Not
Yes.
here.
Yep.
It's not gonna take over. It wasn't, "Well, no." He was like, "No." It was pretty cut and dry.
I would be certain that the other grading services are going to do the same thing, say the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, will you see apps? Will you see programs? Will you see devices? Will you see machines that utilize AI to identify and find and sort? And absolutely. That's
If you
Oh, there
put
was
the phone
already a
app,
channel that did it, and it was garbage.
and
there's a phone
it
app.
will continue to be so for a while.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a phone app, and you can take the same coin, change the lighting on it, and it just throws the AI right off.
Yep.
It doesn't take into consideration about lights and
So
anything else.
Hmm.
I
Well,
didn't
this
want to break
machine,
my streak of never having gotten
you
a free
could put
membership.
coins into this machine, and supposedly I would identify errors and things like that, and silver. And the video that this person did showing this coin sorter machine, it's screwed up like 10 times. It misidentified coins. It identified a damaged coin as an error. It identified a non-silver coin as a silver coin. And then it just dumps all the coins back in the bucket anyway. So you got to go through every single, it took nice pictures. It took nice pictures of the coins.
And now you have
But
to
then
go
you
through
had to
and
go
figure
back
out
through
which
and,
one was
and
which
dig
anyway.
through the coins and find the coin you wanted anyway. So it was
It's
garbage.
not a very good process.
And it's for sale. You can still buy it.
Yeah.
Sounds appealing.
Crispy mofo, that's first generation, right? If you're a first generation adopter, if you've ever seen the bell curve, and I'm gonna be data geek for a minute. If you've ever seen the bell curve, right, 8% of people are early adopters, and they're okay with that. They like the technology. They want to go through that. If you're one of those early adopters and you want to do that, and you want to learn and get feedback and provide and test and evaluate, outstanding. Go for it. Do it. But when we're talking about specifically the grading company, specifically in numismatics, do we think it's going to take over? The simple answer is no,
No.
right? If it is, it's still a few years away.
And
Probably won't happen before I'm out of the hobby.
the AI is probably in 100th generation, because when I was in school, my first computer programming class, that was one of the assignments in it, was to make an artificial intelligence program programmed in Turbo Pascal. So I'm aging myself.
Mhm.
And that was one of our assignments. And basically, everything is only as good as the data that you put into it. If
Right. And that's why it's going to be very, very difficult. Yeah. That's why it's going to be very difficult to do grading through AI, is because the input that you put in, the amount of rules that you have to put in that everybody will have to agree upon, it's not going to do it. It's just, I don't see it. But I do think AI does have its place. AI is going to make certain things easier, but be leery of it because of critical thinking skills. It's going to crush our ability to think critically, especially the younger
It's already
generation
doing that to the younger generation.
utilizes it, right? It's going to cause some potential issues. So be leery of that. And
Well,
again,
a small
not
example
AI.
on a very smaller scale, and it's not AI, but so we are dumbing our kids down. And an example of that is calculators. When calculators came about, people stopped being able to do math. And my generation included. But as the technology gets more and more advanced, the human race is going to get dumber.
Yeah, they don't even use calculators in school anymore. My
No.
youngest kid doesn't know how to use a calculator. One of those Texas Instrument calculators.
Yep.
TI-83.
Yep.
Graphing
Can't even
calculator.
use it.
Yeah, the graphing calculators.
Yep. It got me through college.
Got
Yeah,
me through high school and college. Yeah, well, not all the way through college, but most of the way.
We're just dumbing our kids down. We really are dumbing our kids down.
No Child Left Behind was the biggest thing that killed education in the United States. Because we taught people that mediocrity was okay, and that
I blame the
People that were
participation
exceptional.
trophy.
Participation trophies.
Yeah, people that were exceptional shouldn't be applauded.
Well,
They
the other
should
thing is
calm down and do
everybody
what
needs
they
a
want.
college education. Nothing is further from the truth. A college
Right?
education is great, but there's nothing wrong with working for a living.
Oh no.
Yes.
The how about a magnetic compass? Yeah, we won't go there. Um, it's like the solar powered flashlight, right? Um, Eric laughed. He's like, "Oh, I get that one. That's fun." Or the helicopter with ejection seats.
Yeah.
Well, look at YouTube. There's a plethora of videos that say if you build this little thing, you can run your lights for free. It doesn't cost you. Once you charge it one time, they get the windings out of a DC motor, then they put a transformer on each side of it, and then they supposedly throw a charge of current in it, and it goes back and forth. So it never loses the current, but it'll still charge a light.
Other than
It's
the
all-
mat that's covering the power cord that's plugged into the wall.
That's right. It's all bullshit. All these miracle inventions
Yeah.
that you see, 99% of them are bullshit. Oh, excuse my language.
Go,
Sorry,
go
kid.
for it.
All good. Yeah, all good. No F bombs, but the other's fine. I don't mind. Yeah, but again, when you're looking at this kind of stuff, we're crushing the ability of I mean, we used to be top in STEM, right? We used to be top 10 nations. We're not even in the top 50 in some of them.
As far as a lot of stuff,
Scary.
even medical care now, we've got the greatest doctors in the world, but nobody can afford to go to them.
And the doctors aren't allowed to be doctors anymore
That's right.
because they're run by the insurance companies.
Yep.
I had
That your
Everybody.
medical care is dictated by the insurance companies. Your
By the
doctors,
death
your
panel.
doctors' hands are tied a lot of times. So don't always get mad at your doctors.
if I had a conversation, and I will not get into the specifics, but if you know Tiger Stacker is a emergency room physician. And him and I had a conversation. Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics, but it basically went like this. The administrators required him to admit everybody that came in,
Hmm.
whether or not they met criteria.
Why were they?
were to admit
They
people.
had a more too much Jello in the cafeteria. They need to get rid of it.
Too many
Well,
empty
but
beds.
the problem, yeah, but again, when you're looking at that, right? What's
Crazy.
the bottom line? The bottom line is money.
Yep, that's
Right.
right.
20 years ago, hospitals were not for profit. Now they're all for profit.
Yep.
And technology has increased the ability to scans and stuff like that. But now insurance companies, especially, and I love, and I'm not going to get into the politic aspect of this, but social medicine, if you have a scope on your knee and they deem that it's not problematic at this time and you need one in 6 months, you're not going to be covered by insurance because you've already had one.
Yep.
Crazy.
So-
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab some coffee.
Scans and things of necessity are going to be crushed because that technology is not going to be paid for by insurance companies. So there's a lot of technology and situation and stuff like that. But again, let's get away from that topic because we're kind of deviating
Sure.
from this. But I don't foresee AI. I do want to take this question by Matt. How many engineers working on the Apollo mission thought core rope memory would be the pinnacle of computing for years?
I don't
Yeah,
think
but I
one
want you
did.
to think about what they did with what they had.
Well,
I mean,
that's right.
Reams and reams and reams and reams of that old green and white lined computer paper scouring for mathematical calculations.
Yeah, that, and don't forget that the Apollo was one of the Apollo was the last space vehicle that was designed on a slide ruler. The SR-71 Blackbird was the last airplane designed on a slide ruler. That was not using computers. Now, I'm sure data was crunched after it was done on the computers, but that just shows you what the human brain can do because they don't make it they can't make it as complex as that right now. I should say they make it more complex, but it can't do what that did.
Yeah, we won't go into the discussion, but the Affordable Care Act is a joke.
Our whole
Garbage.
system is a joke.
It's a joke.
Garbage. Anyway,
Tell us how you really feel.
tell us how you really feel.
Well, I mean,
Back to
Paul, you work in the medical field. You've been around it.
the interview. I'm just kidding. It's like, yeah,
So,
yeah.
hey, what's up, Copper
It's
Al?
very
Good to see you.
frustrating. It is very frustrating.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law was a doctor. He passed away a few years ago, but he used to talk about that all the time, how frustrating it was. In fact, he had his own practice. He ended up getting rid of like insurance companies and stuff and ended up going with this thing where people would pay a
Monitored
yearly
care or
thing.
whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Because he got so frustrated with the insurance companies that he ended up no longer taking it. He did take a certain amount of Medicare patients, and he hated that because that was another thing that tied his hands. But
Low
for the
payer.
most part, his practice was like this private insurance type thing that people would pay into at his practice, and he loved it because he actually got to practice medicine again.
Yeah,
Yep.
concierge medicine.
Yeah, the
They've got a lot of
concierge,
that
yeah.
down here.
Yep,
Got a lot
the
of it in
concierge,
Florida.
that's exactly what it was. And he loved it. And his patients loved it. So, but I personally don't think that AI will, it will, I'm sure it will find its place in our hobby. It'll find its place, but I don't think it's ever going to take it completely over. People aren't going to allow that. Look, we have a hard enough time getting a lot of people into social media. A lot of the old timers, they don't want to have anything to do with social media. How do you think they're going to be when it comes to accepting AI? And it's not just the older folks.
Well, the bad part is we're becoming the older folks.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's not just like the old timers. It's people, our generation, and even many of the younger generation. They want to keep it. They want to keep it pure and keep it the way it has always been. And so there's going to be a lot of fight back. I think there's going to be a lot of fight back. And the instant it starts screwing up, then there's going to be even more fight back. You think that people are unhappy with graders now who are actual people looking at their coins? Wait until if they ever start using AI, then that's going to be a crap show.
Yeah, it will be.
It totally will be. I am an older folk, but not in my head. When I look in the mirror, I am, but not in my head. In my head, I am still in my 30s.
Yeah, until you go to do something outside or like pull your carpet up or stuff like
Yeah.
that. Then you realize.
And then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh.
Get into the bathtub and you have to turn over and get on all fours just to be able to stand back up. That's where I'm at now.
I'm getting ready to replace a floor that was damaged in the hurricane.
Oh,
and I was on my knees yesterday and I can barely get up out of the chair today.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to do that.
I keep telling my wife this. I says, 20 years ago, I could do anything. I could rebuild this whole house.
Yeah.
I can't now. I mean, I did the one office where all the trees come through and all the water come through. And I told her never again. And then, of course, the one floor is ruined in the one room. She said, well, you can probably do that, right? And I says, I promised you a new shower enclosure. I didn't promise you a floor because I knew that involved hands and knees. Exactly.
Look, if my kids ever move out, I know the first thing that's going on my Christmas list is going to be a life alert. I'm at that age.
Actually, I think you're my age.
I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm only 56. I'm not that old, but my body is older. My body is older than I am.
In the next 5 years, it gets older fast.
I know.
And according to everybody I know that's 70, the 10 years after that, it really starts accelerating and getting old.
Yeah, well, look, if my mind is good and I'm not peeing myself, then I want to live to be that old.
If you're a woman in 56 and not peeing yourself, you're already.
I'm doing good. That's true. That is true. I am doing good. I
The
love
ladies
that.
in my family all have lived pretty old lives. I mean, I've had aunts and stuff die early from cardiac issues or whatnot, but
Yeah.
like my great great grandmother was 103, my great grandmother was 101. My grandmother has dementia. We only have a couple years left with her, but she's like 97 years old.
Wow.
So they've lived long lives. And my
We don't
grandmother's the
have
first
longevity.
one who's actually had some sort of cognitive decline, cognitive dysfunction. My
Mhm.
great grandmother at 100 years old was sharp as a tack, and she was quick and she was good with sleight of
Mhm.
hand. We would catch her cheat and play cards all the time, but
Ah,
she was quick, she was witty, and
yeah,
I'm like, if I can grow old like that, I'm good. But I don't want to be the invalid, having
yeah,
somebody take care of me. You know, I don't want to go into the world wearing diapers and leave the world wearing diapers. I don't want to be that
yeah.
person.
Unfortunately, we don't have a choice. We get what we get, and
You're
yeah,
dealt cards, and that's what you get.
yep. But
Well, let's get back on
let's get
topic.
back to the to
Yeah, what
Ron
about
and
them coins?
It was a
Druvutski.
little bit of a deviation,
Druvutski.
but I like these conversations, right? These are things
Mhm.
that people think about, and these are what's on the mind of people. So we don't always have to talk about coin. That's why it's called Frosty's Chit Chat, right? We
Yeah.
talk about whatever topic comes up. But there was one thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was a piece that I hold dear, and that's integrity.
Yes.
And something was said that I found to be really cool. So wait, coins? Yeah, Copper Al. And that was something that Ron said in the interview, and that was that he doesn't collect coins.
Yep.
And the reason he doesn't collect coins is that he doesn't want his integrity challenged. And I find that to be a very, very cool statement
Mhm.
Sure.
because when you look at the coins, and he's like, one of the comments that he made, that again, it reminds me of Brian's collection and the video that you guys did when you were there, right? Talk about coin envy. But these guys handle these coins every day.
Yep.
That's
They
right.
see them every day. And was it Mike that said, handling some of these makes my own collection look like pocket change,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
That looking at some of these coins, it's like,
Because
man,
Matt and Mike both work at coin shops.
yeah.
And Matt and they get to see some amazing coins come through their shops. And
But
yeah.
the question I wanted to pose to chat was, does anybody have issue with the fact that these the president, these graders don't collect? Now, I know there used to be kind of an unwritten rule. Paula, you can talk about that. Eric, you can talk about being a collector and being a grader.
Did he collect in the past? He was probably a collector before he was a grader.
I don't know the answer to that one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know that either. He never said anything about whether he ever collected or not.
I would
Um,
assume he was a collector before he was a grader.
what he said was that he had wanted to grade coins since he was a child. That it was a childhood dream of his to
Oh
grade coins.
Lord,
And that's all. So
how
whether
can we trust somebody that has that? Most of the kids
right,
want to be an
that's
astronaut.
when Matt said you're a bigger nerd than I am, because he said as a child, from the time he was a child, that's all he wanted to do.
But
So
I
whether
understand it
yeah, and
because
he said that he wakes up every morning and he can't wait to go into work to grade coins. He goes in on his days off and grades coins. Like that's how much he loves what he
and
does.
that goes it. And when you see coins like him, he would not have any money.
Right.
That's into the point I was going to say. Most people who collect coins, they don't make money off of it. It's still it's a money. They feed money into it.
Yep.
If you're lucky to make $1 here and there off of
Hmm.
coins. You're lucky if you can make enough money to support your bad habit.
And many people sell coins to support their bad habit.
That's right. That's right. But I don't consider that making money. I
Right.
consider that supporting their bad habits.
Right. Exactly. That's kind
crack
of my
dealers smoke crack and they sell crack to get more crack. Coin dealers sell coins, and many of them, I actually know a couple of coin dealers, they don't collect coins, and they're a coin dealer. They deal with it all day long. But I do know a couple coin dealers that collect coins, and you can see when they get a really nice coin that they struggle
to let it go.
The one coin shop near me got a 55 double die, AU 58.
That's what my grade is.
And he paid decent money for it. He paid legitimate money for it. But he put a price tag on it. I says, like $3,200.
He didn't want to let it go.
And I says, dude, you'll never get that. He says, if they give me the right offer, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
But I really don't want to sell it. He says, the last one I had, and he was telling me, he says it was MS62, and he says I sold it for $1,200.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were going for, 8-10 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, he went that, but that's the other guys that I go to, they would have bought it. Let's say they paid $2,000 for it or $2,500 for it. They would have put 10-20% on it. And took, if you take, if it was 2,500 and you said, I'll give you 24, they would have took it.
You know who that reminds me of? It reminds me of Brian Raines.
Well, Brian Raines, he's a totally different monster. You'll go up to him and you'll say, how much you want for that coin? He'll say $35. And okay. Then you'll say, how much you want for that coin, which is in the same, $40, $50 range. And he'll say, $550. I'm not really sure I want to sell it.
I know.
You were telling me about that with one of the coins you were looking at.
Yeah, the last fun show, I'm going to be seeing him in a couple weeks.
He's so funny.
The last fun show I went to, I ended up getting that JT Stanton autographed coin from him. And that was like, I think he charged me $25 for it. And it's not any real spectacular coin, but the coin I was looking at, it was a 46 SRPM. And he's like, oh, just him and Han. And I'm like, whoa, dude, Brian Allen was with me. I think I said, I'll give you $60 for it. And I get smacked because, Brian's like, I'll give you, I got one you can have or whatever. And he says, no, I think I need about 500 for that coin. And I was just like, oh my God. But then you go up to him the next time and it's totally legitimate or it's low. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get. But he's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
He knows his stuff.
He bought some. I got to meet him for the first time in Tulsa last summer. And he bought a few coins off me. And he was just, so I get a little bit, it's weird because I've met celebrities and stuff before and I've never gotten starstruck, but I get starstruck with certain people in the hobby. And Brian was one of them. And it's not because he's like a huge name or anything. I mean, he is kind of a name in the hobby.
Sure.
But it's because I have known him for so long on Facebook and interacted with him, but never met him. It was just like, so it was, I took a picture with him and I'm kind of goofy, but anyway, I get a little goofy with certain people in the hobby. Like I've known Ken for a long time, Ken Potter. We're good friends. We talk on the phone. If I ever meet him in person, I'm probably going to get all goofy.
I met him in the 90s because we lived a few miles apart then he called, and when my house got struck by a tornado, Chuck did like a benefit auction to help me fix my house. And he donated a bunch of stuff and talked to me on the phone. And he's like, yeah, it's great to meet you. And I said, well, I met you. Then he actually remembered. He goes, oh, you know what? I remember that. I'm like, nice. You remember it. But that's why he's so good at what he does, because he ultimately does remember.
Yeah. Ken's having a hard time right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he has long COVID. He suffers with long COVID. I
did know that.
And one of the side effects is his memory.
Yeah.
he's finally getting it back. But yeah, he has. It's weird because a couple times you'll see on Facebook that he gets corrected.
Yeah.
And it's something that you've never seen before. Like nobody ever corrects Ken, but
A
he
lot of
knows
the
right
people that are
away, oh yeah,
correcting
you're
him,
right. And but it's frustrating to him.
you get a lot of people on his page that are trying to correct him, and they're absolutely wrong. And it's just because
Wrong, yes.
it's those people that, I'll grade your coin for $6 type thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
they don't know
frustrating.
what they're talking about.
Well, he made me a moderator on his channel, and I'm not as nice as he used to be.
He just would delete the messages usually.
He does. He'll turn off commenting.
Yeah.
I delete the person.
I don't comment on Facebook.
I delete the person.
Yeah, I was a moderator in a bunch of groups for a while, and I just decided that it's better that I don't.
Yeah, I'm not very nice.
If people send me emails, I always answer questions.
Right.
Or even during the show, if they ask me a question, I'll answer. But Facebook is just too toxic for me.
It is it's really toxic. It is. You have to keep a Facebook.
There.
That's Facebook right there. You really have to be vigilant though, or the people will run other people over, and that's a problem in Ken's group. Yes. And he takes a lot of it. Like he will take it.
Well, the thing about Ken is he knows coins pretty much, varieties, errors, everything.
Right.
There's not a lot of people that know that much.
No.
Most of them usually specialize in one thing or another.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And he has a problem with, I won't name any names, but certain error people trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Making up new terms for things and stuff. And he doesn't get, and I don't get that either. And that's probably because I was taught by him.
Yeah.
I'm
bad.
It's not necessary.
My nomenclature can be bad. But it's not terrible. I mean, I'll say a little die break when it's really just like a die chip.
Yeah, that's not a thing, like a big thing.
Paula, can you give us an example of exactly what you're referring to?
Oh, well, if I do, people are going to know who I'm talking about.
Doesn't matter. I really don't care. Here's the thing that I want people to understand. If misinformation for the sake of misinformation is something that needs to be pointed out in the community. But if it's somebody just trying to get their own whatever going, then people need to understand that that's what it is and not something that they're missing. I want people to be educated on what the normal process of things are. So when there's a deviation from that, if we can highlight that, there's a lot of people who probably won't know who it is.
Well, okay, so
there are some that do. I'm going to ask chat not to throw the name in chat if you do know.
Well, so there's a term that even I've used a lot in the past, and it's because, so even though most of what I know I learned from Ken, there are a couple other people that I learned from too. Joe Cronin, I love him. Yeah, so, and we'll never say anything bad. I'll never say anything bad about any of the people that I learned from. But there are terms that are used that are new terms that I did not know is a new term, and it's so you'll hear me use progressive indirect design transfer, PIDT. Well, Ken has a problem with that. He didn't even know what that was. That's how new that is.
I've heard indirect die transfer. That's what I've always called it.
Yeah, and there's
like the shadow on a Lincoln cent of the head on the back.
Right, on the back. Yeah, you see people a lot of times it's mistaken. It's mistaken for a clash. A lot of times it's mistaken for a clash.
Right.
You see it a lot on wheat cents. It's just die deterioration is all it is. It's a worn die, and the design from the other die is coming through.
So in cents, it kind of is a die clash, but it's from the dies basically stamping the planchets 500,000 times. So you get transfer
And
from one side to the other.
transfers, but it's not a traditional
It's
die
not a
clash.
true
And
clash.
people think it's just die deterioration is all it
Right.
is. It's from
Exactly.
from worn dies. But Ken never knew what PIDT was. So that's a fairly new term. And that's where he has a problem, because people will come into his page and use that term, and he has no clue what it means, because that's not what it's been called for years and years and years. People are just making new things up. He also has a problem with cutesy little names for like spitting horse or
don't get me started.
the spitting eagle
Or
that we have a
speared
million of in the new cherry picker. Instead of just calling the error what the error is, people are making like cutesy little names up for them.
Yeah.
I also don't like that.
Yeah, I don't care for that either. Even
Why
though I
not
do
just
refer to
call it
them.
a die clash or a die crack? Why
Well,
a pooping horse is a little die chip? Why not just because they make little names up? Yeah, well, they
The
call that
hamburger
the
hat,
crown
that's right.
the crown die chip now on the crossing the Delaware. In fact, here's if I can take just a second, I'll tell you guys a funny story. The crown die chip, right? Now they're actually calling it something, a Conklin hat or something, I don't know. PCGS has given it some weird, some name of their own, and they actually they're giving it a variety attribution. All it is a die chip on the hat, on the crossing the
tells me?
Huh?
You know what that tells me?
What?
800 to 1,000 people have sent that coin in for grading.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're just going to say, hey, I want the $50.
Yeah.
Whores.
So the thing about that is I got into a discussion on Ken's page the other day. I have seen these in the last 2 years. The prices decline rapidly, right? They've gone from people were buying them for $500. Now you can pick them up for $10. Well, people were arguing with me. One guy says, I sell these for $100. And I said, well, that's just stupid because just because people are paying that for it doesn't mean that that's what they're worth. So that very same day, I went on, hang on, I just call it back. The very same day, I went on eBay and I bought one for $10, the big one. And I did that just to prove a point. Someone said something about send me all yours and I'll sell them for $100. And I said, I don't buy them because they're not worth anything to me. So, but that same day I was like, you know what? I'm going to go on and I'm going to buy one just to show this person. So I did. I bought one for $10. I'm going to send it to Steve Mills now because I don't care about it. But that's the thing is it's got now even PCGS has got into the cutesy little name game, and they've made their own name up for it. Hang on, and I'll tell you what it's called, what they're calling it. They are calling it. I got to find it on Kent. Here it is. They're calling it the cockade hat. And I may not even be pronouncing that right. COCKADE. Well, if you look up what cockade hat is, it's the hat that Washington's wearing with like a little adornment to it. That's all it is. So they're calling it what the hat is with like a little thing on it. And they're considering it a variety now. And if you know anything about that particular die chip, it has a progression.
It happens on a lot of them. Yeah, it starts in the back and it crawls right across to the front.
Yes. There's also a half one that starts in the front. That's a completely different one.
Isn't there one with the boogers falling out of his nose too? Because the die crack on the bottom of the nose gets big.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds.
Yeah.
So that's where the speared bison, like things. I mean, I would love, and that's where Ken has the problem, and me too, probably because I am very much influenced by him, and I'm kind of old school. Call it what it is. You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still just a pig. Call it a die crack. Call it a die chip. Call it a die break. Call it a die clash. call it what it is, or you're not teaching anybody anything, and they're just buying a cutesy little name. That's all they're.
But that's
agree
the
with
thing,
you
man. That's
100%.
the stuff that sells.
Yeah, and it's
Right.
crazy, and it is crazy.
So we'll call the one with the boogers the Mean Green Washington.
Right. Yeah, you can, I guess, make up whatever you want to call it. Call it what you want to call it. And a lot of it started with like, well, I don't know if it started, but for a long time we've called the die clash on the Franklins a Bugs Bunny.
Right.
To me, it looks like a vampire. I
Hot Lips.
don't think it looks like a bunny at all, but
I think it
maybe a
looks like
rabid
die
bunny.
The Hot
Yeah.
Lips Morgan, right? Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the
And the
Hot
weird
Lips is
thing is-
just a double die. That's all it is. The Hot Lips is a double die.
The Bugs Bunny Franklin back late 1990s, you could get them for $10, which was
Mhm.
it was a premium because at that time silver was like $3 and something an ounce. So if you could buy uncirculated coins really cheap.
Poor man's double die. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right, Amanda. But I guess
Poor
I
man's
guess the
double
cutesy names have been going on for a long time because they got the spiked chin on the, I don't know what, even 1804 or I don't know what year it is.
Not familiar with
1798,
that.
the spiked chin on the half cent.
So
You know, it
Amanda's
was
feeling a
always
little spry
called
today.
a Bugs Bunny, Kevin. I always heard for 25 years, I've always heard it referred to as a Bugs Bunny. But it was only 1 year at first. And then all of a sudden
55.
then all of a sudden they started finding them in all sorts of years.
And they've got the booger nose now. And that's a
Yeah.
thing. There really is a booger nose clash on the Franklins. It's called the booger nose.
See, that kind of stuff, I don't understand, right? Like, oh, you got to have, why? I mean,
If you collect that kind of stuff, I
but
get it.
So when you look at
Yeah.
a lot of these Franklins that have the Bugs Bunny on them, you have to look at them in the exact right, certain light under loop magnification.
And you know what? Also, if they are, because a lot of times they have attempted to braid that away, and sometimes they're successful. If you, Adam actually sent one in that was absolutely a die clash, but had been abraded so much that you could hardly see it, if at all. And they would not attribute it for him because they said that it was it was too late of a die state.
Now
And then
that
nobody would care about it. Nobody would care about it. Huh?
That's what a lot of that. It's too late of a die state when you're sending a coin in for an initial attribution. Like say it's like a new discovery, I would say yes, unless we find an earlier die state or can link it to something that's similar to of an earlier die state. But to say that we're not going to say a Bugs Bunny, it's a well-known die clash, and they list it. That's, to me, is just they should have took the $50 because it is.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. If you want to collect that stuff, collect that stuff.
And that's what I say. People collect all sorts of. People collect string balls, and they're into string balls or balls of string. If you
But what are they
whatever you want,
collecting?
that's
What are they
collecting.
collecting, Eric? Are they collecting a cutesy little name, or are they actually collecting that error? Are they
Can you
collecting
see
die
this?
cracks? Are they collecting die chips?
I know people that have 10,000 pennies that have die chips or die cracks on them. Spiked head die cracks.
Yeah.
There's another one. It's a die crack that goes up into the W.
Right. I have a
actually-
few of those discoveries on Cuds on Coins.
Yeah,
Here, I got one
I
for you,
used
Eric. Ready? You know what that is?
Bottle caps. Knee high.
Yeah,
Love it.
Look, if it were a grape, it would be even more interesting. Somebody sent me to this and says, I know you like to collect stuff. I'm like, who collects bottle caps?
Lots of people. It's like
Lots of
matchbooks.
people. I didn't realize it.
I didn't realize my mother-in-law collects matchbooks. She's got matchbooks that are from the 50s still.
So does Can. Doesn't Can collect
Can does
matchbooks too?
So one person's treasure, one person's garbage is another person's treasure. That's where
But they still call it a matchbook.
That's true. They don't call it bald matches
don't-
because all the sulfur wore off of them or whatever.
Right. It's still called a matchbook.
The spitting horse quarter. Yeah, the spitting horses.
Yeah, that's
I've
a
got a
die
daughter
crack.
that's salt shakers. Yeah.
It's a die crack. If you want to collect it, but call it what it is.
And that's what I say. If you want to collect something, collect it.
Yeah.
I have this argument with Chuck all the time because he says, there's no collectability in that. I says, there's no collectability for you in that.
If somebody collects it, then it's collectible.
If somebody wants to collect it,
yeah,
fair game.
That's right.
Let them collect what they want to collect.
That, though, and I think this was the premise of why this conversation, or the aspect of this conversation started. And that is people utilizing the name as the money grab. There's no additional numismatic value.
Well, there might be, but it's not
Right.
$50.
But
it might be,
well,
to the right person, a quarter might be worth $1 because they
right.
want
And
it for $2.
Steve, the point is, the channels that, promote $600 an ounce silver, the special coins. I've got a couple of them myself. I've got the AC/DC coin. I've got some of those coins that I really like them. So every once in a while, if you want to buy the shiny object, do it. Not a big deal. That's what collecting is. But be smart in your purchases. If that is all you focus on,
I have one.
you're
I got one.
never going to get your money back.
I have my 2-ounce alien round that's in the little alien egg and everything. Look up what those are valued at. I mean,
Here's a good example. You guys remember that one?
yeah, the colorized.
Right? Everybody thought this was going to explode and blow up.
Yeah.
I bought it at Tulsa for $42.
Is it worth 31 now?
They can't sell them.
Yeah.
They can't sell them.
You wanted
They were a
it.
flop.
You going to sell it or are you going to just keep it? I mean, that's the problem. I've got a Walker, a 43S Walker that I looked at the obverse. I'm like, wow, this has got a smoking double die on it. And then the guy looked at it and he goes, oh, this has got a double die on it. And he goes, I want $100 for it. And I was like, and this just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I take a picture and I send it to the guy. He says, no, that's re-engraving. I still don't believe it's re-engraving. I've got one that has the re-engraving. This, to me, it has the re-engraving and a double die. But I was just like, oh, so there goes my $100 coin. It's now a $13 coin.
Yeah, no, I'm going to keep it. I mean,
keep it
because
forever.
I like elephants, so I'm going to keep
My
it.
kids will end up getting whatever
coin.
silver spot is for it when they when they try to sell my stuff.
But
Well, the thing is, if you want to buy a spitting horse, right? Let's just use that as an example. And you go on eBay and there are 200 listings, then that's a common thing and you don't need to be paying $500 for it.
Yeah.
These crown die chips are common and there are many different stages. There's many different types. There's half crown. They are common. Why people are paying that kind of money, and they are, if you look on sold listings, the first, most of them are $20, $10 to $20, but there are people that have paid $80, $100 and are still paying that amount. And it just kills me.
And that's what I'm saying. If somebody wants that coin, I don't think it's unfair to pay $10 for it.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's like a speared bison. I can remember when they came out. Just cringing. And I just looked on eBay. There's still some listed for $5,000. They don't sell.
Right.
All the ones that sell are around 10 to 20 bucks. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're worth 10 to 20 bucks. They're interesting. It's a spiked head die crack, but from the rear end of a buffalo.
Yeah.
Well, this brings up a really good point. And this is earlier in the stream, we talked about the early adopters. Early adopters put themselves at an extremely high risk. Now, sometimes there's great reward for being an early adopter and getting on something early. But a lot of times in this hobby, you jump on buying an error when it first comes out, or you jump on buying a variety when it first comes out. You may be shooting yourselves in the foot, spending $200, $300, $400 on a coin.
Yeah.
A great example of that is the Minnesota quarter.
Yeah. They're still cool, though.
People were spending
really
15. Cool. I have a buddy back in 90, what was it? 96, 97, 98,
2006.
huh? Or
It would be in the
2006.
early
I'm sorry.
2000s. Yeah.
I had the wrong decade. That spent like $1,500 to get one of the first ones. And what's the coin
Ooh.
worth now? 22, 23?
There's actually, I think there's one of them that is actually worth some money. But there's hundreds of them. It's like the new
Yeah,
nickel.
it's
There's going to be 200 double die reverse nickels this year
Yep.
at the rate it's going.
The
And
extra V. Oh God, don't get me started.
you mean
well,
extra
but so
V's.
here again, right? You're going to have the opportunity for people to take something and make their own. So awareness of what really is an extra V, right?
Yeah.
It shows up in different places, but what are the ones that actually can happen? Right? This is, and Paula, and she's ingrained this into my head. Know the minting process.
Right.
What's actually
Why are people
capable?
buying something when nobody has even figured out what it is yet?
Yeah. You know
Like,
what? I
and
pay
the
10 bucks
grading
for one.
companies are grading them,
Yeah,
which
I would pay 10 bucks for one. That's what it's
yeah,
worth to me. And that's overpaying.
just to
in my
have
mind.
one, right? And
When
study it.
I'm trying to do what Brian's doing. I'm trying to get an uncirculated set of all the Kaneka, Wexler, and copper coins RPMs.
Yeah.
Most of them cross, so it's not like a whole bunch. I think it's only like 4,000 coins. But I pay over the value when I find a coin that is hard to come by.
Yeah.
I have no problem paying more than the coin's worth because it's traction on my goal.
But Eric,
Towards
there's
my
a
goal.
difference between overpaying, paying over what, whatever, and having your eye gouged out.
That's right. Paying 5,000 times the value.
Yes, there's a huge difference in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I've overpaid for things too, more than what the suggested value is or whatever. But there's a big difference,
I do it every time I donate to charity.
I do
Or
that
I
too.
join an event.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
just
have a
give people
problem.
money,
And
even
that's
on
different.
the
Paying to help out.
That's
And
different.
I've got $80 an ounce silver that I did because I was supporting St. Jude, or I was supporting Wounded
Right.
Warrior, or I was supporting Toys for Tots, or whatever it is. And that is okay.
Yeah.
Speaking
But
of,
nobody was trying to fool me.
No, you knew
Nobody
what
was
you were
trying
buying. You were
to
doing, you were helping out. That's
bring
different.
me into a position where to make me think that I had something that I didn't have.
this, you reminded me, ain't gonna fit in the screen. Shout out to Ringmaster Ray. Got my
Love
shark
that.
Hold on.
I know, love that. Listen, and the reason why a lot of people, me, and I'll speak for myself, the reason that I have such a problem with
Look at
watching
that.
people overpay, like really, oh, those are so cool. Like
I've got the
really
original.
overpay for things is because I see it all the time. People inherit collections, and the older person who they inherit it from paid an exorbitant amount of money for something that they're only going to get a few dollars for
I
when
can
they go
tell
to
you,
resell it. And they
whoever
didn't know any better, but
whoever gets my collection is going to definitely never recover what I paid for it.
right.
Unless they're extremely lucky.
But
Unless
you
something
know
happens.
that.
Right. I just recklessly buy cents. So,
Well,
but I don't.
my family are going to look at my stuff and go, "What in the hell is this?" Because
Like I told my
I collect
son,
so much exonumia and just weird stuff
I
that
said,
they're going to
worst
be
case
that.
scenario, hire an
Yeah.
armored car, and you have
Yep.
$50,000 in change.
Yep.
Just take it back to the bank. Some roll hunter will just love you for that.
Yep.
I said, but if you want to pursue getting more money for it, there's a lot more money to be had in it.
Right.
So,
And we're back to the conversation that we had the other day, that why it's important to inventory certain things,
oh
right?
Lord.
Help
I
people
am
understand.
inventorying
No.
certain things,
Huh?
but and actually, I've been working on inventorying rolls. I'm still in the 60s.
I'll be right back.
I have been working on inventorying stuff, but I'm never going to have an exact inventory because I buy faster than I can inventory. but I should be putting everything that I buy in an inventory. But I have been sorting because everything, I just get it and throw it into a box and then put a box on the stack. But I do have everything separated by decades. And I do have an inventory of my RPMs that are in my albums, my 3-ring binders. And I've got 5 3-ring binders that are full.
Well, we were talking about that yesterday, and so you do it for 2 reasons, right? You like to know what you have, but as you are selling roles and you're doing the reveals, it's important for you to know what you have. So if something goes south,
Well,
you
that,
know what you have in store, or if there's a huge push for something, or there's a huge, like, we're doing the 2023 nickels, right?
yeah,
If you're going to sell 2 rolls of that, but one of them ends up being, like there's a line that came across, or somebody
right,
cut
right.
something all the way across them.
I
Yep.
do separate those. I actually write on the label, on the paper.
Here's the thing though, even though it's not in an inventory sheet, if somebody looks at that, they know what's going on. It's inventory.
Right, right.
People
Now
are
that,
very aware of what that item is. Now,
the-
what people may not understand is what is its value,
now
right?
that's
And
something
this is
I've got to
where,
work on too.
say again?
That's something I need to work on. There was an ulterior motive when I started the inventory sheet on the RPM, and it was a project that I'm trying to get all the, like, Wexler, Kaneka, and copper coins all cross-referenced. So everything you can say, I've got this coin, and you can go to any of the services, and if they have it listed, it'll be, that was my main thing. But then I was just like, well, hey, I'll make a second page and I'll just cut and paste all the ones that I have. And that became my inventory list. I have a lot more than is on my inventory list, but these are just the ones that have made it into the album.
So one thing that I really like about what Copper Coins does, and if you've never gone to Copper Coins, again, I promote them all the time. But one thing that I like about Copper Coins and a lot of the channels that you buy stuff from is when they send you an inventory sheet, punch holes in it and stick it in your book. If you open one, go through and you say opened. If you put it in a different tube, put it in a tube. If it's an original
Yeah.
bank wrapped roll and you're just sticking it in a plastic tube, but you're leaving it in the original bank wrapped roll, just put tube for protection. Just do something to indicate what that is, because
Oop.
when you're gone, my wife has no clue and has no
Right.
desire to know what I have.
And that's my, like I've told my wife, I says, the good stuff's over here. I says,
Yeah.
the rest of the stuff, you'll either have to have, hopefully somebody that I know will help her. And hopefully I got another 30, 40 years left, heck.
So Crypt Keeper, that's something that I've got 2 videos that I'm working on. One I just finished. It's going to be released probably Wednesday. So you're going to want to check it out. It's regarding networking in the community. But the next one that I'm doing after that I'm building right now is on having a estimated insurance value for your collection.
A good way that used to do that, and I don't know if they still accept it. Of course, you don't have video cameras anymore, is line your good stuff up on a table and just take a video camera.
Well, in
Yep.
case you guys didn't know, if you are a ANA member, there's insurance companies you can get, and it's actually cheaper to get to go with a company and have a separate policy besides like a rider on your other
Absolutely.
insurance. It's cheaper to get separate insurance for your coin
And
collection.
it's probably better
Yep,
because I
it's
can tell
it's
you,
100% better. They cover everything.
I can tell you, with dealing with homeowners insurance over the last 2 years,
Yeah.
they don't want to pay me a dime.
Nope,
They think I
no,
should just live in a house with no roof, and
yeah,
no walls, no windows, and
yep.
that's
And
what
if
they
you go through the, I can't remember what there's one specific company that the ANA works with, and I can't remember who they are, but you guys can go look it up. But they will cover the you guys will agree, they'll get with you and they'll agree, you guys will come to an agreement on what your collection is worth, and they will pay you the market value of your collection.
Right.
Like, no questions.
So me said USAA does that. I'm actually in San Antonio where USA is headquartered, and I actually have my homeowner's insurance and everything through them. I have all my artwork, my coins, my
Mhm.
gemstones, all that stuff, all as part of my policy.
Mhm.
And they offer a really good service
Yeah,
where
it's
you
for
can actually
vets
do
and family.
appraisal
Yeah.
and all sorts of
Yeah.
good
And
stuff.
from what I heard around here, being in the middle of Hurricane Ian, USAA was one of the few companies that didn't hesitate to pay the claims. They paid them and got the people's houses fixed.
USAA is amazing.
You know, in Florida, you hear everybody say, well, 80% of the lawsuits in the country come from Florida. And I can tell you why a lot of them come, because my insurance company's communication was, you have 280,000 in damage. You don't even meet your deductible after depreciation. And I says, well, I've got a thing that covers depreciation. And their exact words to me were, well, sue us.
Wow.
And I can bring you to 100 people in my neighborhood. That's what the insurance companies told them.
Wow.
It's just a propaganda thing. It's probably going back to the AI. It's crazy. I can see. Fortunately, my house is almost paid off, and when it's paid off, I'm not going to even have homeowners insurance. I'm going to get liability insurance for slip and falls. But as far as hurricane insurance, I'm just going to start putting money away and save for it myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably smart.
Yeah, the company that I was with prior to USAA, they changed their policy. So when we had the massive hail storm that came through San Antonio, it destroyed my roof, like absolutely, just because we had baseball and softball
Yeah.
size hail,
Yeah.
and it just pummeled the hell, beat the gutters to death. Actually busted a lot of the boards in the roof itself. Um, and fortunately, there wasn't tons of rain or anything before I was able to get it fixed, so I didn't have a lot of roofing damage or stuff. But after that storm, they want 20% for coverage before they will honor repair
And you know
costs.
what? I'm fine with that. They used to prorate roofs back in the day. They don't prorate. Nobody will settle for a prorate like with when Irma came through.
Nope.
My roof got damaged, and the insurance company says, you know, your roof's 15 years old. You need a new roof. Blah blah blah. And I was like, you know, being in the automotive industry, I was like, okay, I put a new roof on the house, but my roof was literally a year old, and they're saying it's depreciated 99%.
Hmm.
You know, and that's what they're sticking to it. So hopefully,
Well,
I've
I
got one of them
had
done, right?
Insurance is
I had
again.
a claim. I put in a claim last year. Some of you might remember, for my roof that was wind damaged, and like really seriously wind damaged. Huge chunks of my roof came off, and my insurance. I still had. Needless to say, I still don't have it fixed. My insurance company only wanted to pay to have it repaired, and I cannot find a roofer who will only repair it.
That's right.
Because there's too much liability for them to do it. It needs to be completely replaced, and my insurance company won't pay it.
Yep, you got to
Won't pay
hire
to
a
have it
private
replaced.
adjusting firm or an attorney.
Mm-hmm. So it's still hopefully it's not going to leak, and
Yeah.
but
it's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy, and it's not just in Florida. There's a lot of disaster in Florida. There's natural disasters are happening everywhere.
right.
My son, was in a tornado in Nebraska. He had USAA. They cut him a check within 2 weeks.
USAA, I'm telling you, they're a great company.
Yeah, I don't think
I
they're
left the
writing
other
new
company
policies
that
where I'm at.
I had more issues with the other company I was with and just said, I've had enough. I had been with them for quite a while. Uh, I quit so I had somebody hit me,
Mm-hmm.
and I called them and said, I need to initiate this claim. They made me pay. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Wow.
whoa. I was
Oh
not
my
at fault,
goodness. Sorry. Grandson's
right?
screaming.
That's why they have insurance. And they're like, well, you put the claim in. And I'm like, at your suggestion. It's like, you know what? I'll pay it. it's fine. I'm taking my money. I'm taking my house. I'm taking my other
Yeah, going
stuff.
somewhere
And
else.
I don't pay a
Yeah.
small amount of money every month for
Well,
all
that's
my
what
policies.
my
And I said, "You're
homeowners
gone. You're done."
went
And I went
from
back to USAA.
500 a year to 4,400 a year in 3 years.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Well,
It's
you know,
unreal.
the thing, it's really surprised me because I had a house fire about 10 years ago and my house was completely gutted on the inside. So everything was, my house is like brand new on the inside.
Yeah.
Well, my insurance company, they were at my door in like 3 hours with a check for me to go get a place for me and at the time my dad was living with me and my daughter to go stay, to get new clothes. Like they didn't balk at all with anything to fix my house. They were so good. So when this came up, and I haven't changed insurance companies, it was Liberty Mutual. And I haven't changed it. When this came up, I thought I wouldn't. Now, granted, it really wasn't the insurance company, it's the roofers. Like they won't, no, I can't get a roofer to like just fix it. They refuse. It's
Yeah.
too much, I guess, too much liability to just repair it.
And that's what happened with me is I had a friend who was a roofer and he did repair it. But he told me flat out, he says, you need to get a new roof. This is just until you deal with the insurance company.
Right.
But no other company, every company that came was like $25,000. Because roofs went up, they tripled in value overnight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I don't now. Maybe they tried to get with the insurance company, and the insurance company told them, no, we're not going to replace the whole thing. So I don't know. But
the denials aren't the insurance companies. They're what's called reinsurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the insurance that the insurance companies buy.
Hey, Paula, Papa Giorgio wants to know if the emu came with you.
Yeah, the emu and the 73 Duster.
The emu, yeah, right? Nah.
I love that commercial.
No, it was Liberty Bibberty.
Liberty Bibberty.
Liberty Bibberty. He got rehired, I heard.
That emu, that's the look I get from my wife when I get another beer at the party when she's ready to leave. That's the look. Yeah.
That's the look. No, they were really great when I had my house fire. Who wasn't great was Wells Fargo, because at the time I had a small mortgage with Wells Fargo, and they thought they owned my everything. And so when the insurance company, how it works is the insurance company will cut a check
in both names.
It has to go through whoever has your mortgage first, and then they'll release it to your contractor. Well, I was having a problem with Wells Fargo releasing the funds to my contractor.
You already signed the check, I take it then.
I didn't even see the check.
Oh, see, like when we got mine.
It went directly to my mortgage company.
The last check I had gotten, the insurance company told me, don't sign it. Take it to the bank and have them sign it.
Yeah, the only check I got was when they first came to my house and gave me money for clothes and a hotel and place for us to stay temporarily.
To remove trees.
Yeah, that was the only check I got directly. The rest, when it came to the repairs on my house, went directly to the bank. And Wells Fargo, my contractor was fighting constantly with Wells Fargo to get the funds released. It made no sense. Like, I didn't understand that.
Well, Wells Fargo didn't have the funds if you didn't sign the check.
I didn't sign anything.
Yeah,
the funds went directly to Wells Fargo, and then Wells Fargo released the funds to my contractor.
Yeah, see,
that's how that worked.
And when I went to the bank, they were like, "Well, sign the check," and I says, "No, you sign the check." I was told that you have to sign the check first.
Yeah, I never signed anything.
They flat out told me, "So you don't want us to put a hold on your money, right?" I says, "That's right. I need this money to fix my house. I can't fix my house with the money without the money." And they did it though. They were cool about it. They were like, "Oh, okay." I said, "So they actually understood." But there's horror stories in the neighborhood that they go to the bank, they sign the check, the bank signs the check, and then they won't release any money till you prove that you've done repairs. Because I guess during past, like Andrew and back in, not just here, other places that it's very common. You get, I got a $400,000 house with almost $300,000 worth of damage.
Put stuff in chat.
So you get a $300,000 check and then you just walk away from your house. You buy a new house.
Yeah.
And then, then everything's good. I guess that happens a lot.
Yeah.
So I understand it.
Needless to say, I immediately refinanced my house with a different bank when that was done.
Says the insurance companies are bad. The insurance companies say the scammers are bad. Ultimately, it's both sides. It's kind of like politics.
True.
Put
stuff in chat. Put stuff in chat, everyone. And I just want to remind everybody who came in late, who may not have heard the earlier conversation, you guys really need to click on that link that Frostbite put in the description of this video to the Coin Show podcast and go watch their interview with Ron Drewutsky from CACG, from CAC Grading.
So what kind of coins has everybody been looking at? Anything exciting?
There's the link right there. So go check that. Click on that link.
I look at everybody's coins.
I do too. I spend 80 to 100 hours a week looking at coins.
Yeah.
So
I just look at emails and other people's coins, but I haven't been doing much of that because Shay's been answering most of the emails before we can even get a chance, which is good. But I did see a coin in one of the Facebook groups that I'm a member of earlier this morning that kind of ticked me off.
What was it?
Well, it's a Lincoln cent struck on a struck dime. So it's a double denomination, an 11 cent. And they're very cool. Those are very cool error coins. Unfortunately, this person was getting some really bad information in that group.
Okay.
And people were telling him it was a vice job or there was glue on the coin.
There you go.
No, it's undeniably an 11 cent coin. It's undeniably a double denomination.
That is why I never reply.
It's so frustrating. Hey, Red.
And the worst part is the people that you ban, they just rejoin under a new name.
Yeah.
And start all over again.
It's true.
Now, there's a way to alleviate that, and that is by banning them through Google. If you're on YouTube.
Yeah, but if they're not registered,
this is Facebook. This is Facebook.
Yeah, if they have an email, then you can report them through Google and it'll block. If they do account generation, because I have one person that would come in and harass acting as somebody else. They came in under two different names. So I reached out to Google and said, here's the two names. I want to identify who this is. And they sent back information on, they have a Gmail account. And I was like, I want them blocked from having access to my site. And so they blocked their MAC address. So they actually block. So if they log in from their computer,
they have to go to a new computer then.
They have to go to a new computer. So you actually, if they're really problematic and you find out it's the same person over and over again, then you can absolutely prevent them from coming in. You just have to file a claim.
But this is Facebook. This is different.
You can still do the same thing. It's same policy.
Frostbite, there is nobody to contact on Facebook. They have no customer service you can contact. Nobody.
Probably AI. Because I got banned for 24 hours for replying on something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the? And they said it was because of hate speech.
And you just have to suck it up. You can write to them.
Yeah, by the time they look at it, you're not banned anymore.
Yeah. But I can tell you, because there's porn that gets posted on Facebook, and I report that, and I'll get a reply that says it didn't go against their community standards.
So you're the one
I'm the one that's reporting you, Eric. So you better knock it off. Mind your P's and Q's with that porn stuff. And I'm talking about like legit porn pictures, like.
I never see any of that. Yeah, I must have a sheltered life.
Gross stuff. And every time I do it, I get a reply back that says it didn't go against community. Thank you for reporting. We take this step seriously. Unfortunately, this did not go against our community. Really? What's your community standards?
Yeah, I think when I got banned, I was telling somebody that I hated Scrapple.
Yeah, I think I got banned one time during the
well, 2 years ago for saying something. And I'm surprised I have not been banned more because you guys know, like, I have a mouth and it translates through my fingers.
Really?
No way.
So, and I have, it's true.
We're being
One of your best
educated,
qualities,
folks.
in my opinion.
Paula has a mean streak. For those of you
No,
that
it's
didn't
not a
know.
mean streak. I'm
Yes, it is.
blatantly honest.
Oh, no,
Like,
it's a mean streak.
well, it can be.
See, my wife, I tell my wife the same thing. I says, "You got a mean streak," and she says, "No, because I tell everything I say in the most loving way, even
That's
if there's
right.
F-bombs in it."
That's right. I usually will warn ahead of time that what I'm about to say. I'll put up a what do they call it?
Disclaimer.
A disclaimer that what I'm about to say may offend somebody, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I've been pretty lucky
I
lately.
do. I try to warn people.
Well, I want to get back into one
Yeah.
more thing. We really went squirrely for a little while, got off on
We
another
did get
tangent.
squirrel.
That's
Well,
fine.
that's me and
That's so
Eric. We
funny,
do
isn't
that.
it?
I mean, again, this is Sunday chit chat. That's what it's for.
I
There
do
is one
bully
more
you,
thing
Eric.
that I want to talk about before we wind up. And because we've got about, 30 minutes or so before Coin Crew cooks off. And I want to give everybody time to go get some coffee, freshen up, go use the restroom, whatever. But when we were talking yesterday regarding the ways forward and the stuff that I want to do on my channel, I want to call out Captain Vic real quick as a prelude to a discussion that I'm going to have on Wednesday on my video. And the video is going to be about networking and how you can utilize network in this hobby to strategize, to plan, to learn, and how to hold things accountable. And the reason I wanted to bring Captain Vic in, and I talked to him about this, is that he knows I collect ships. Anybody who knows me knows that I like to collect ships. And there's a lot in this hobby you can do. There's a lot in this hobby that you can attain. And there's a lot of cool things that you can find if you network. He knew I liked this ship, sent me a photo, said, "Hey, I want to work a trade. If you're interested in doing it, this is what I want. This is what I think this is worth. What do you think?" Hey, perfect. It's exactly what I want. I don't have that one. Let's do it. And the reason that I say this is, Paula, you collect semi-numismania, right?
Exonumia,
Or numia. Didn't say that right.
numismania.
Elongated sense. But how many of those items have people just sent you because they knew you liked it?
Most of them.
Okay. How many people
I probably have over
on the
1,000
elongated
elongated
sense?
cents. I probably have over 1,000 elongated cents, and most
Oh,
of them
man.
are elongated cents that people have sent me.
Are
And
you
but
in
I
the
do have
elongated
some.
scent
I even have
club?
some graded. I have some graded elongated cents.
Are you in the elongated scent club?
I'm not. I'm in my own elongated cent club.
I should send you the form because it's actually based about 3 miles from my house.
Really? Yeah, I've known about it for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not much of a club person.
Yeah, neither am I.
Yeah, I'm really not, because I just want to be able to do my own thing
I
and have
did
fun.
join Coneca again.
But that now I am a member of Coneca and I am a member of the ANA.
I'm a member of the ANA. The only reason I became a member of the ANA is they gave a free membership away when COVID started, and I just
Well, we give free memberships. We give one. The ANA has sponsored free one free gold membership a month for us to give away. So thank you, ANA. We get to give that away. And Coneca, I'm just a member of because I just love it. So it's my jam. But
Now, another thing I want to shout out ANA on, talking about ANA, is if you're ever looking for appraisal services, ANA has a really good appraisal program.
ANA has a lot of great programs.
Somehow
ANAX
They have great
is-
YN programs. They have
Yeah,
just great programs.
Isn't Annex involved with the somehow linked to the
They
ANA?
Well,
Yeah.
PCGS.
No,
It's Annex.
no.
PCGS has
No.
one what they work with the NA.
They work
No.
with them, but I think the
Yeah.
Annex is actually owned by
Annex
the
is the
ANA.
one that they utilize.
I think so. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it, but I was always in my impression that it became Annex because it was from the ANA.
Brown Sugar says
It was.
she
Annex
won a membership from you guys, Paula.
was
I know.
created by the ANA in 1972 to
And-
root out exposed counterfeits.
And me has
ANA
Becky coins.
has not controlled Annex since 1990.
No.
Okay.
But- Huh?
This is why you guys are here, because I don't know all the information. But again, there are certain things that you can do, or find. ANA is a really good one. I still need to get off my butt and actually get my membership done. I haven't done that yet. But anyway, what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of plug the video I
You
told
do
Captain
get
Vic.
discounted memberships to NGC through the ANA. But
Say that one more time.
they used to, I think like 2 years ago, they started, or a year ago. So it used to be free membership to NGC through the ANA. Now you get $15 off your NGC membership through the ANA. But it used to be free membership, but it's not anymore. It's $15 off, which is still a good deal because it's what, $30 for a basic NGC membership or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
50% off. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good deal.
So it's 50% off. So
Especially if you're going to be doing it anyway. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of perks and didn't they run a deal recently on their lifetime membership where
yes, and that I think
Really?
expired, but it was a
it
great
was a
deal.
really good deal?
Yeah, it was
Most,
200 something dollars or something, $250 or something for a lifetime membership, something like
Most
that.
clubs are getting out of the lifetime membership.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them offer it like that, and then all of a sudden it's never available again. They only do 5 years at a time after that.
Well, the problem with lifetime memberships is it locks
Thanks,
you
Eric.
into the inability for them to
Brad
raise
has
the
sent me
price.
some.
Yeah.
There's a few people in your chat who've sent me elongated cents and stuff. So.
Well, but
I
again,
got a bunch of them. I didn't know you collected them. I'll have to dig them out when I find them.
I do collect them. I love them. I
the
do.
whole point for bringing that up was that if you invest in people, they will invest in you.
It's absolutely
And
true.
so learning what people like now, so I didn't reach out to Captain Vic and say, hey, keep an eye out for ship coins for me. He just happened to know that I was looking for them because that's what I collect. And so being able to understand what people do, but one of the major things that I've said in life is that, and Paula, you said be teachable, right? That was one of the lessons that I
Yes.
learned
Be
at a really
teachable.
young age. Be teachable. But another one is don't just take from people, give back to people. And one of the best things that you can do to cement your love for a hobby is to mentor somebody in it. And
That is so true.
if you engage people, then you're going to find that and you remember why you're in the hobby. You're going to remember your passions because they're going to pick up on it, and then you're going to converse about it. And then you're going to find you have more passion about it. You're going to look into it, and then you're going to find that you guys have things in common, and you're going to do these kinds of things. Another thing is, don't surround yourself only with people who have been in the hobby for years and years and years. Surround yourself with some people that are brand new, because they're the ones, and exactly what Kevin Rose keeps the skills fresh.
Yep.
Right? They're going to ask you questions that you forget to ask yourself.
Oh, that's why I love doing this.
Yeah.
You guys have spurred so many memories because I used to be a coin dealer. And for years, I didn't use any of that. And when like you say, oh, what about this? When you'll send me something on a text. And it's just like, wow, I haven't thought about that in a long time. And sometimes I get it wrong.
It's fun. Well, and again, I've had people whenever I'm doing process improvement stuff at work and we have a new team member, I always stop the team member and it's like, hold on just a second. We're having this discussion. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And I'll ask that new person and they'll tell me, and it helps me to understand, am I even really on the right track? Is the stuff that I'm looking at actually what is being heard? Right. And I ask this of channel members. I ask this of people who are brand new to my channel. Is Coach's Magic still in here? He may have had to go. He brought a coin. Jackalope Herdmaster said, hey, check out this really cool coin that they found. We had a discussion live with the four of us, me, you, Chuck, and Paula, right? Identifying this really cool flowing hair half cent. It was fun to engage. And this was somebody that was brand new to the hobby, right? And what
I
did
didn't
they
boot
bring?
anyone.
Say again?
Oh, me said I booted him. I don't know who he's talking about. I didn't boot anyone.
He's busy. He probably had stuff to do. But the engagement that somebody brand new to the hobby brought to the channel reminded me that we've some of us have seen this stuff. We don't think about it all the time. So it's good to surround yourself with people that are new. And again, if you engage the people that are new, we maintain this hobby. Because if we lose the new folks, we lose the hobby. And all the stuff that we collect and all the stuff that we're trying to maintain and all the stuff that we love, it's just going to be lost. So invest in those that are new. Paula, thank you so much. Eric, thank you so much for coming
Always
up and
a pleasure.
being here. I'm going to give everybody some time to go freshen up their coffee and
Yeah,
spend time with
you
their
guys have a
significant
blessed
other and
Sunday.
whatnot.
Thanks for having me up. Eric, have a great day.
You too,
Love you,
Paula.
my friend.
All right, you guys. Bye.
See ya.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and throw Coin Cruise channel in here. I already had it up and then I copied the other link. Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you all for being here. Thank you for the support again. If it wasn't for you all, I wouldn't have a channel. But again, I want you guys to be aware of where I'm going in 2024. So I'm going to be working this new program, looking at strategy, looking at investing, looking at organization, structure, things like that. I'm going to draw names. EMR Coins, congratulations. You win. This is the link to Coin Cruise Auction. We'll see you guys over there. EMR, send me a message. Let me know. We'll figure out what you want and I'll send you something. Draw it again. You doubled me up already. He's forwarding it on. And this is going to go to, if it does it again, I'm going to have to double it. Kevin. All right, Kevin, send me a message and I'll send you something. Thanks, EMR. Appreciate you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you over at the Coin Crew auction here in a little while. I've got some family things to attend to and a daughter's recital. So I won't be there for just a few minutes because I got to get some things taken care of. But again, when you go over there, please make sure you say Frosty's Raid. And I appreciate you all. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you in the streams. Watch that video on Wednesday. Okay. Love you all. Peace out.